Hannah! I jump when I hear John calling my name. He runs over to me and grabs my arm. People think we have a thing going, but whenever they mention it, we furiously deny it. However, we do, in a way, have feelings for each other. I am snapped out of my thoughts when John begins rambling about something. I don't know what he's talking about, considering that he's talking at a speed close to that of light. Dude, slow down. Now go slowly, enunciate clearly, and explain to me again what you're trying to say. I knew what my costume was going to be for Jeremy's party. Jeremy was born on Halloween, and his parties always involve elaborate costumes. I sigh, wondering what John would concoct this year. Well, what's it going to be then? There was a long pause before he answered me, as if he was attempting to expound upon the suspense. I'm going as Slenderman! I paused and looked at him quizzically, not understanding the reference. Slenderman? I repeat, still not getting it. Come on, Hannah, you're the nerdy one. How could you not know about Slenderman? Well, if you would tell me, we could correct this little gap in my knowledge base. Why don't you look it up? It would take too long to explain, and my dad's already waiting to pick me up at the front. And after that short exchange, we parted ways, him to the front and I to my mother's vehicle. I don't like riding buses, mostly because I was always afraid of getting beat up. I am a huge nerd, and that would make me an easy target. The minute I walked up to the car, Mom rolled down the window and began talking about how some co-worker of hers had made a rude comment about her new shoes. It's a wonder that we're even related to each other. She always cares about her outward appearance, and she dresses in light pastel colors that pretty much glow in the sunlight. I, on the other hand, don't really care how I look, and I usually dress in a black shirt and light jeans with my long brown hair either put in a braid or a tight bun. I don't want to attract attention. The ride home was filled with conversation about everything from physics to bunnies. When I went to my room, I immediately pulled up my computer, went to Google, and typed in Slenderman. I scanned the first few options and stopped as one caught my eye. It was something called the Slenderman Wiki. I double-clicked on the link, and up came a deluge of white words set against the black screen. The thing that really caught my attention, though, was the picture of a tall, faceless being in a black suit and tie, with white collared shirt, and had white skin. The image could be mistaken for human, as if it weren't for the face and limbs that stretched to an impossible distance. It sent a cold shiver down my spine. This is stupid, I thought to myself. This couldn't possibly be real, right? I began reading the various pages, and with each word my fear mounted. However, with this fear came an insatiable sense of curiosity about this creature. I thought, assuming that this thing even exists, how was it created? This train of thoughts ended up leading me to a page devoted solely to the origin of the Slenderman. There, I found some surprising answers. These answers appealed to my inner nerd, providing some intriguing scientific theories. There was one called the tulpa effect, in which it was implied that if a substantial amount of people envision a certain thing the exact same way, the combined powers of their mind would inadvertently create that which they believe. Another theory that made a reference to quantum physics, something I could relate to. After I read that, my certainty in its non-existence began to falter. I went back to the previous page and went to the page for abilities of the Slenderman. I was surprised at the detail, the way they put in the creation of a supposedly fictional being. Finally, I saw it. It was just one word, but I felt an instant attraction to it. Proxy. I clicked on the page link and quickly read the text. It was basically about how Slenderman sometimes has people that work for him. I wondered to myself, what would that be like? I pushed myself away from my desk in disgust. I am treating this as if this were real. What's wrong with me? None of this exists. I should just forget about it. I closed the page and opened two more, one for DeviantArt and another for Quotive. I couldn't resist. I looked up Slenderman on both sites and began to read. I tended to shy away from the love story runs because I just didn't see him as a creature capable of human emotions. The ones that I read the most, however, were the ones that involved proxies. I couldn't help myself. The whole prospect of it fascinated me, and yet I was afraid of it. The side effects could get pretty bad, but then still, I have nothing to worry about, don't I? After a few hours of reading about Slenderman, my paranoia had reached its peak, and I decided to quit and go to sleep. Even as I lay in bed, I couldn't help but wonder, was any of that real? Could it be? Or am I just being weird? Finally, I managed to push these thoughts out of my head and drift into a deep sleep. I found myself in a densely wooded area. I was nervous, but something in my mind told me not to stay in one place for too long. I began to run down a narrow trail that was cut into the foliage, but I had no idea what I was running from. I got the feeling that I was being watched. Someone, or rather something, was following me. I heard a rustle behind me, and when I turned around, I tripped over a tree branch and tumbled to the ground. I suddenly felt something cold grab hold of both my wrists and my ankles, and I was lifted up. I struggled, trying to break free, but I ceased the attempt when I saw what had me. It was a tall, faceless creature, the tentacles sprouting from its back, apparently the things that were restraining me. It looked like it was staring at me, but could it really see? I didn't scream, however. I was too curious to scream. I looked at it, carefully studying every aspect of its appearance and demeanor. I heard a voice echo in my head. My child, why are you not afraid? I finally got up the courage to speak. I'm curious about you. I want to learn more about you, about your ways. It tilted its head at me, taking into consideration what I had said. You're different from the rest. For this I will spare you. I think I shall have to visit you in person. You intrigue me. By the way, what is your name? I hesitate before saying my name. Hannah, I replied shakily. After I had answered its question, it slowly lowered me to the ground and released its tentacles, the blood flowing back into my hands and feet. I then slowly walked away, the forest fading around him until it turned to black.